Just like anything in life, if you don't tackle the root of a problem, you are not going to solve the problem. And it's just like in politics. You can talk about anything you want. Democrats, you can down the Republicans. Republicans, you can down the Democrats. But if you're not talking about the Federal Reserve and you're not talking about the domestic terror cell known as the IRS, you are not going to solve the problem. Now, I like this guy, Owens, that you're about to see, Burgess Owens. And a lot of what he says is right on the money. But when you make it a left versus right paradigm thing, and you know, Democrats have their problems. They have a lot of serious problems. And Republicans have problems. But the two problems that they have, or actually the one problem that they have, is common between both of them. They're both statists. They believe that it's okay to initiate unjust force and violence on people who haven't done anything wrong. They think that government is legitimate, that there's something called authority that you need to obey. If you don't obey, then you've sinned and you need to be punished. Because what are the commandments of the state? The commandments of the state are laws. And what are laws? Laws are nothing more, nothing less than the opinions of politicians backed by the threat of force. And when you sin against the priests, called the politicians, then you've sinned against the church, called the state. And remember what Amschel Rothschild said. He said, "Give me control over a nation's money, and I care not who makes its laws." Guys, the Federal Reserve is in the driver's seat. The Federal Reserve is the reason that we have the fiat currency Ponzi scheme known as the Federal Reserve note. It's a note of debt. It's how we get into wars. It's how we're $22 trillion in debt. If we don't root out that problem, then we don't solve the problem. Now, I'm going to leave you with the words of Burgess Owens, and I'll make a couple of comments in between because a lot of what he says is right on the money, but it sidesteps the main issue, the main problem. The main problem is the Federal Reserve. We need to rise up against the Federal Reserve. We need to rise up against the Internal Revenue Service. It's domestic terrorism. Here's the video.
Once you're recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm going to take a different tack from beginning. We are at this point, this is not about black and white, rich or poor, blue collar, white collar. We're fighting for the heart and soul of our nation. We have a very, very special country that started with the Judeo-Christian values that allowed every single generation to become better than the last. And that has not ended, that has not stopped until now. We're telling our kids a little bit something different, that they don't have the opportunities that we had. I'm going to talk about some ideologies. And when I talk about them, I'm not talking about people. People change. I used to be a Democrat until I did my history and found out the misery that party brought to my race.
It's true that the Democrat Party has fanned much evil into flames in this country. But remember, the Democrat Party is just one of the two major parties that are controlled by the Rothschilds' banking cartel. They're two wings of the same bird of prey. Both teams are owned and operated by the same cartel. And what they want is for you to root for one and condemn the other. Because in doing so, you unwittingly play their game and condone their existence and control over your life.
So when I talk about these ideologies don't change, people do.
This is actually a good statement and a great point. Ideologies don't change, people do. And what makes an ideology bad or good is what it prescribes for the collective at the expense of the individual. See, both the Democrat and Republican ideologies are collectivist. It's what's good for the group and to hell with the individual. In the words of Bastiat, the state is that great fiction by which everyone seeks to live at the expense of everyone else. Both the Republicans and Democrats condone and propagate this ideology.
We're fighting for the heart and soul of our nation against socialism, Marxism, and the evil that it has brought to us in the stealing of our history.
I agree. Marxism and socialism are cancerous ideologies, and every trace of them should be eradicated from the earth. But most won't be willing to do what it's going to take to get that done. For example, if you're really against the evils of socialism, then you're going to be against everything socialism has spawned, like Social Security, compulsory education known as public schools, and interstate and bridge projects. The EPA is a socialist program, and so is the FBI, the CIA, TSA, and DEA. Look all around you and you'll see that the evils of socialism abound. And what makes socialism evil? It's evil because it's a massive wealth redistribution scheme that steals wealth from hard workers and gives it to people who didn't earn it. Socialism is theft, and more specifically, it's theft by the threat of force, also known as extortion. So yes, socialism is evil, but there seems to be cognitive dissonance that makes people back up and say, wait a minute, when you show them that they're really for the very thing that they consistently say they're against.
Karl Marx said it best, the author, the father of socialism, an atheist, anti-Semite, and a blatant racist. Yet we teach his philosophy in our school systems today. He said it, the first battleground is rewriting of our history. You steal our history, you steal our pride in our past, our appreciation for our present, and our vision for our future. And every single urban city in our country is now experiencing that loss.
That is absolutely correct. You can't argue with that logic.
Real quick history, because these are things that we're not taught. I'm blessed to be the great-great-grandfather of Silas Burgess. Came here in the belly of a slave ship, sold in Charleston, South Carolina with his mother, to the Burgess plantation. An evil, evil man that drove my great-great-great-grandmother either to leaving her family, her kids, or committing suicide. I don't know, she disappeared. But Silas at age of 8, was blessed to be surrounded by men who believed in freedom. Even though they were shackled, they escaped. They went the southern route of the Underground Railroad, facilitated by white and Mexican Americans. And he's made his way out south to Texas. He ended up being a successful entrepreneur, owning 102 acres of land, paid off in 2 years. Started the first black church, the first black elementary school. Pillar of his community, 18 kids, Christian, Republican. His first son was Alpha Omega. Proud American, an example of what happens when any race, any culture is given hope, opportunity, and freedom. It didn't end there, by the way. The history of our black country, of our black Americans, has been stolen from us for decades, almost over a century. Booker T. Washington, 1882, began Tuskegee University. By 1905, it was producing more self-made black millionaires than Harvard, Yale, and Princeton combined. The 40s, 50s, and 60s, it was a black community that led our country in the growth of the middle class, led our country in terms of the men committed to marriage, over 70%, now it's 30%. Led our country in terms of the committed to business ownership, 40%, now it's 3.8%. Men matriculated from college. We now have a higher percentage of men incarcerated in college. It is, by the way, my degree was biology. And that, I learned a long time ago that slavery is not a gene in the DNA helix. It's our actions, it's our attitude, it's our belief. I do not believe in reparation, because what reparation does, it points to a certain race, a certain color, and it points them as evil, and points the other race, my race, as one that is not only becomes racist, but also beggars. I do believe in restitution. Let's point to the party that was part of slavery, KKK, Jim Crow, that has killed over 40% of our black babies, 20 million of them. State of California, 75% of our black boys cannot pass standard reading and writing tests, a democratic state.
Now, as in the tank for the banking controllers as both parties are, it has to be objectively conceded that the Democrat Party is more malignant than the Republican Party in terms of overt evil. Liberalism is in your face, pull your pants down and take a crap in the San Francisco streets, hanging from the chandeliers evil. But don't forget, when you look under the covers, both parties are in the same bed and think that there are people in this world called agents of government who have a higher claim over your life and property than you. And if you don't think that's true, then show me one Democrat or Republican that says we need to eliminate the IRS, the Federal Reserve, the military-industrial complex, and all the alphabet soup agencies that keep us in bondage on this plantation.
So yes, let's play restoration. Let's play restitution? How about a Democratic Party pay for all the misery brought to my race? And those, after we learn our history, decide to stay there, they should pay also. They're complicit. And every white American, Republican or Democrat, that feels guilty because of your white skin, you should need to pony up also. That way we can get past this reparation and recognize that this country has given us greatness. Look at this panel. It doesn't matter how we think. The fact is, well, it doesn't matter our color. We have become successful in this country like no other because of this great opportunity to live the American dream. Let's not steal that from our kids by telling them they can't do it. Thank you.
Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. If you guys enjoy these videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, and share it with everybody you know. Also, check out over 100 hard-hitting designs in the shirt store, and if you want to support more content, hit me up on Patreon or PayPal. All those links will be in the description and in the pinned comment. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.